Hey everybody, it's Mike. Welcome to yet another IncrediChat here on the IncrediCon channel here live on Facebook and then following up on YouTube. Tonight, we have a wonderful guest star, wonderful young lady that we found thanks to our good friend Scott Shaw, who was with us, gosh, probably what, 2 months ago. So as you know, Scott Shaw, he is a San Diego-based artist. He, on his page on Facebook, found this other incredible, and we like to look for incredible people, incredible artist from San Diego. So tonight hey, Joe Ryan, we're already here. I know people are joining us. So tonight we're going to welcome to our show a wonderful young lady, Andréa Agosto. And here she is. Hello, Andrea.
Hi.
Oh, welcome to IncrediChat. We already have some people joining us tonight. Like I was saying before, we kind of discovered you because somebody else discovered you. So let's just talk about like the coolness and the awesomeness of that. When I shot you that message and I said Scott Shaw, and our people watched Scott when he was on here a few months ago. Scott's worked on like Camp Candy, Sonic, Ed Grimley, the Flintstones, all this great stuff, Captain Carrot. What was it like when I shot you that message and you found out he was sharing out your information or your art?
I was kind of freaked out. I was like, no, wait, no, this can't be real. Let me double check. And I'm like, oh my God, this is real. And I'm like pacing back and forth. I'm like, what do I do? This is a real thing. Scott Shaw, this person who actually does art for a living, found me and likes my stuff. It was insane. So I got really kind of fangirly and like was running around in a circle. And my poor fiance was just like, hey, it's all good. They're a person too. And so it was a really cool experience because I never thought that I would get recognized for my art, my visual art especially. And I feel like I've been trying and working so hard on it. So to have it finally get any kind of attention was really powerful for me. And like, oh my gosh, I'm doing something. I'm on the right track. I may not be where I want to be yet as an artist, but I am on the right direction. So that makes me feel good.
Yeah, no, I mean, certainly I don't have the post pulled up right now, but yeah, I'm gonna have to try and find this post now. But yeah, he posted this, and then it was the same night that actually another great artist posted he posted on it. He was with us, Dave. Dave Alvarez? I'm sorry, I'm thinking because we have our friend Joe Ryan in here. Dave Alvarez was here that night too, and yeah, so no, Scott Shaw wrote appealing artwork and impressive resume by San Diego actor-artist Andréa Agosto. So yeah, no, I mean, this was awesome. And, I found it because we're friends with Scott. And, I reached out to you because your artwork, ironically, has like that really cool, like loose, fluid style to Dave Alvarez, if you've ever seen his artwork. And we spoke with him that night. I was like, wow, this is great. And then he commented, and it turned into this great thing. So why don't you tell the folks watching a little bit about yourself? What do you do? Because I mean, you do it all. If you go onto your website, and I'll put that up here right now. But watch the chat. Don't go onto the website now, but I'll put it up there. You have quite the resume. You're an actress. You're a graphic designer. You're a photographer. You're an artist. You're a writer. And I mean, more importantly, what you and I share in common is you're an educator too. So you're doing some good stuff for the young people. I'm just putting the link up there for people to check it out. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I mean, you said some of it. By day, I am a middle school English and drama teacher. I typically teach 7th grade English, and my drama classes are mixed between 7th and 8th grade. I have a beginning class and a performance class. My performance class actually has to work. They were not aware of that. I'm like, no, when it says performance, we perform. So, doing a lot of fun things with them, bringing in theater into the schools, having them kind of see shows that I'm in is really fun. Actually, it puts the whole performance on another level for me. And I also, of course, I do graphic design on the side, mostly doing flyers and graduation stuff, especially right now. Lots of people really want something special for their 2020 graduates that didn't get to have that ceremony, or they didn't get to have, the nice photography session. I did one of those, a couple of those as well, and it was a socially distant one. It was really cute. It was a cheerleader and her friend, and they had to be, of course, 6 feet apart. And even that is very telling. And it's a way to also mark history. Sorry, I just love thinking about it like that. Additionally, I do write. I've been moving on to not just straight narratives, we're moving on to plays. I had one of my plays actually read at the Old Globe Theater here in San Diego. I am still writing more and submitting to play festivals. Fingers crossed I finish my full length by July. I also act. I mean, I'm very much known for my theater stagecraft stuff. I'm known for monologue work and being a character actress. I love doing big, over-the-top, bold characters that are pretty crazy. That's what I'm known for. And I also sing. I do some musicals as well. And let's see, did I do everything? I think, is that everything? I can't remember.
Photography. I think you have photography on there too. I mean, you do it all. Check out her website and you can buy cool stuff. It says on there too. I'm looking at it now. But I mean, like, yeah, you kind of like do everything, which is awesome. So let me ask you this question now. As an actress, so you're doing performance art. How does that translate into the visual arts, and how do you relate that to your students?
That's a great question. Just as a very, very artistic, creative person, a lot of times that's how I get my thoughts out. I'll be drawing myself as the character, trying to figure out my path as the actor, what I'm going through. And sometimes having that visual representation of what I should be doing actually helps me cement it for myself. So I have something to look at, I have something to aim for, and I have something to build on. It helps me lay the groundwork sometimes. Additionally, it helps me like work out my thoughts as an actor, like, okay, this stage direction's over here. So sometimes I just have to draw the stage for myself and all of the set pieces and map myself out. That's another way that this visual aspect helps me. And that's a way that I also encourage my students who do draw. I have a lot of students who draw. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's put this to good use. I will have them design stage setups for us to use that we could use in the future. Things, I'll have them read plays on the side and they'll be like, this is how we could do this one really easily. They basically help me do pre-production planning by doing a lot of this stuff. And it makes them feel useful, like they have a voice. It makes them feel validated and empowered. And it takes some of the pressure off of me, for quite frankly. It's a way for us to actually be a team and work together to produce something. So yeah, that's one of the ways that I do that. And also I include art as far as a drawing aspect as an option in all of my drama projects. So lots of students love doing the costume design. Some of them love doing the stage text. Some of them love like actually just figuring out where the light's gonna go. And it's really cool that drama can be used to do all of these different mediums of art. Like you need every kind of artist. So I love it. I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah, no, and I definitely like what you're saying about maybe bringing people together, because certainly with everything that's going on in the world today, starting from like 3 months ago to where we are now, everybody knows I'm a teacher as well, and I'm sure you are with your kids. I'm really trying to encourage the kids to create at this point in time, because I think, and we were having this conversation today at school too, is that there's going to be a lot of really great creative pieces that come out of this time period. Like somebody was saying how the 2020s are going to be, that people can't wait till the 2020s are done. But another person then chimed in saying that the 2020s are going to be great, because there are a lot of things that have not been positive that have happened, but the outcome from these non-positive events will be great and shape, humanity, if you will, for generations to come, very likely.
Yeah, so. I totally agree. And one of the things that as a drama teacher and having to work long distance, I've been, wanting them to perform, but also knowing that there are guidelines that my school district and I must abide by. So I find ways that they can do little things, like we had a playbill recreation thing, but they had to use either themselves or household objects to recreate a playbill of a play. And so that was one of the things that they had to do. Another one that was fairly simple to do that got a lot of creative responses for was a monologue for an object in your house. Like, what did you go through in a day? I got the one that cracked me up probably the most was the soap one, because they were like, they want to just use me all of the time. When is it enough? And I was dying. I was like, because especially now, it was topical. I mean, our students are going through this with us, and they also need an outlet to talk about this. They might not know how to approach this issue or approach the subject or even express their feelings articulately about what's going on. So one way that they can do it is through humor, through an inanimate object, through a playbill recreation. Gives them that opportunity for more expanded social emotional learning as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some of your artwork. And again, this is very timely. So one of the things I really liked on your page, you have a lot of these portraits, and even on the link that we shared tonight, you have some of your. We showed 2 pieces of your artwork, and certainly one of those featured was what got our attention that Scott shared. But it's talking about one of the things you're best known for is your splatter portraits of Black women. Tell us a little bit about those. What was the inspiration behind it? How long have you been doing this for?
Honestly, I have no idea where it came from. And I want to say that I started doing this about, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago when Lauryn Hill was my first one. Mm-hmm. I just was thinking about people first off that I really admired, that really spoke to me deeply. And her music did that for me growing up. She was very honest in her music. And that was something that I was not used to seeing at that time in the 90s. You know, when we're singing about being a Barbie girl, not a diss, that was a hot track. I'm just saying, you know, when we're confronted or being brought something new, we're going to go with what's newer. And that's what I was doing. I loved her sound and I was really, really moved by her. And I was like, you know what? I love her face as well. So let me see what this goes. But each time that I tried to paint her face, I hated it. I was like, this isn't right. This doesn't feel right. This just solid brown. This here, it just felt wrong. And so I was like, finally, I'm just going to try to figure out how to make these weird stencil type thing and splatter paint in it and hope it works out the way that I want. And it did. And I've been getting better with that. And there's something to me really touching about the fact that it is just mostly, for the most part, solid black and different shades of it as it's, you know, diluted by the water onto that white canvas. And how out of all of that mess and all of that chaos, there still comes this image of beauty and of a Black woman. And that's why I continue to do it. We are beauty out of chaos. You know, we continue to rise above and we continue to press forward. And that's why I do that. And that's why I'm going to keep doing them like that. It makes me feel good.
Nice. Now, let me ask, what is, so like, I guess inspiration, like, do you model your, and I pulled up so the folks watching can see some of your artwork too. Do you model your artwork? Like, was there, or even if you don't model it, is there an inspirational artist that kind of you look to follow that style?
You know what? For those particular ones, the paint splatter ones, not really that I can think of. I'm sure there probably was, maybe in passing, but nothing that really stuck out. I think it was more like, oh, that's kind of interesting. It was stencil art in general, like graffiti art, but too solid, too bold or something for me. And I was like, I think it needs to be done softer in a way. And I think that's what it was. So, you know, like the likes of Banksy, for example, is the most one, you know, iconic one that I can think of. His stencil work is very, very bold, very, very sharp, very, very clear. And I wanted to do something a little softer, especially to represent femininity. And I think my little watercolors and the textures do that.
Yeah, because I'm just looking at, you know, some of your artwork has that very realistic look to it. I mean, definitely the watercolors are all there. But there's like definitely some like the realistic look to it. But then like looking at just the thing that you have listed, the one that piece, and I guess, is that a self-portrait of you with the polka dot dress on?
It was.
But like there is a very cartoony look to it, you know.
I really love cute kawaii style, and I was trying to find my own, and I'm still, I think, in the process of solidifying it. But that's where that came from, the kawaii, you know. And I was like, I bet I can make one that's a little bit more representative, at least my features, you know. So a little bit bigger eyes, little button kind of nose, and of course full lips. So I was trying to make it look like me. Big, huge hair, because you know, it's really tame right now, but it's normally not. And that's exactly how I looked for my first art show. I used that as a display at my very first art show. And that way people could see a little bit more about me. And then they were like, oh, it's her. She's also wearing the same dress. I wore a polka dot dress that night as well. So there'd be no confusion. This is me.
So now let's speak to that a little bit, because the comic book industry, for the most part, has been dominated by men. So as a young woman, you and I were talking beforehand, we were talking about like San Diego Comic-Con, and obviously you said you've been there. How do you find yourself fitting into this world of generally male-dominated art?
I try not to think of it like that, okay. But I know that that's the reality. But if I continue to let that bother me, then I would definitely not, you know, do much. I would feel defeated. So I've decided to just basically change my audience. And like, if I'm not going to please, you know, majority of comic book men that read that kind of thing with my type of art. There will be a nerd girl out there that likes my stuff. There'll be a Black girl nerd out there who likes my stuff. There'll be, you know, other types of nerds, and I'm reaching to them. Those are my people. And if we can find each other on this plane some way, somehow, then that's all that matters. Would I love to break into the institution, the height of actually being a professional comic artist? Absolutely. But I also am really realistic. I know that it's not going to happen overnight. I know that I still have more training to do, but I also know that the industry needs to reevaluate how it views specifically Black writers and Black artists. Our style may not be seen as the standard or the Western canon of style, but it is still unique and deserving of having a place in the comic book world.
All right, we have a comment here from Joe Ryan, who's a great artist in his own right, and he's with us all the time, and he says loves your work. he's already checking out your page. See, that's great because we're putting it all out there. But that, you know, that's an interesting thing that you brought up, and I mean, even like I said, I know my general co-host Michael Grazia, he's not with us tonight, but this is one conversation that him and I have had, and like I've been really striving for this as we've been doing these IncrediChats. Is most of our guests have been men, and again, being a teacher, you know, I mean, like I see some great artists in my school that are girls, you know, and just again knowing a good friend of ours, Ray Felix, is part of this group called Women in Comics, and like I said, you know, and then so we need to really spotlight more of, you know, women in comics. But the one thing you really brought up there that I liked, and I guess you can speak to this a little bit, is again, I'm a little bit older than you. We were talking about ages before. I'm a little bit older than you. When I was in school, and I mean, I don't know for you, but it's probably different. When I was in school, you know, and for people around my age level, it was very much like, oh, you like comic books, you like the superhero movies and stuff like that, or Star Wars and stuff like that. And it's like, we don't talk about that stuff, you know. And at this point in our society, I mean, you live in San Diego, really the heart and soul of this whole Comic-Con world. But you mentioned like the girl nerds, like. How, I mean, I assume you probably grew up as a girl nerd. How have you seen, being in San Diego, have you seen that culture evolve?
So girl nerds are like the best, especially like when you run into them at San Diego Comic-Con. Everybody's just super excited to be here, and everybody just wants to help. Like, we have this way of sharing information about, you know, cosplays, about sharing information about where to get the best fabric, about sharing information, unfortunately, about what booths to stay away from or what people to stay away from. Because that, unfortunately, is a very, very real thing. And part of the reason why I'm the weird one out of my nerd girl group, I am little less on the cosplay stuff, not because I don't want to, but because I am way more insecure than they are. They'll just like, I don't care, and I can't walk.
That's gonna be my question. Like you were saying, what I thought I was gonna say, did you cosplay? But I guess you don't cosplay.
I did one. I did Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy, okay, because she's basically covered, and I could just paint my face green. Cool, I got that. So that one was a fun one, and I felt really, really cool and tough and everything. So that was a really nice experience. But I also didn't have to wear heels like my friends who play princesses do. And some of my friends who play princesses, even though they're nerds and they're cosplayers, they also get paid to play princesses by doing birthday parties. They keep trying to rope me into it. And I'm like, I don't know, that's so weird. But yeah, they love it. They talk about it all the time. And now that we're social distancing, they just do it through Zoom. And I'm just like, are you for real? They're like, yeah, I just princess it up right here, and then I'm going on Zoom, and then afterwards I take a nap.
And they're doing the Disney princesses, I guess.
Yes, they are. For like they'll do like little message, they'll do a chat. It really just depends on what the parents of the family wants. But yeah, so most of the time it's a message. Depending on what they want, they can also do a longer chat. They can do a story time, blah 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 blah. And some of them they do it independently. Some of them do it with a company, but I cannot remember the company's name.
Oh,
but
wow.
Yeah, it's like we all find our ways to hustle. They're doing a little bit more on the nerd hustle side than I am. I'm a little quiet. I'm the quiet one. I'm like, I'm gonna stay over here. I'll cheer you on. I'm gonna just draw and post and draw and post, and I'll get on stage. But that's
well, nice. So I mean, outside of the cosplay thing, like, have you seen? And we'll talk about San Diego. I've never been, so I don't know if any of our. I'm sure some of the people who watch this have been to San Diego. Have you seen over the years the increase in the girl nerds, also the increase in women artists? And even let's talk about the diversity in comics too, because that's a whole other angle, which is now really opened up.
I would say that they haven't necessarily increased. They've just been more free to come forward. Like, oh yeah, this is another thing that I'm interested in. They're being able to be empowered in what they're interested in now. Because for one, as society as a whole, we started to accept more of that as mainstream. So that helps. But as far as like specifically into the comic direction, most of the girls that I know, they are very, very much on the anime manga side. That is what their bread and butter is. So even still, I'm a little bit kind of out here on myself when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because I'm like, I would love to just panel draw, like do all of these. Like, I want to make the story. I have all these things I want to do. And they're like, no, just I want to do manga and I want to make this pretty anime. And I'm like, I can't do that. I don't have the patience to do all of the manga and this training that you want to do right now. But I personally think that I could continue to do the comic book stuff and that I could increase in it, or as far as skill and as far as hopefully professionalism. But it also needs the opportunities need to be there. Most of my friends who do comic book art are actually male, and they are predominantly white. And their stuff sells like hotcakes. I mean, that's not no shade or hate on them at all. Their stuff is great. They're really talented in what they do. But the fact is not lost on me that they are typically just more welcome in most spaces. And I'm, I guess, a wild card because people also have to, I guess, know me before they can promote me. People always want to get to talk to me first. And I understand that, you know, you want to get to know people, but I just don't understand why that's not happening to my counterparts. It's just something that I've noticed. But yeah, and they normally get more jobs at the comic book stores. Like even trying to get a job at a comic book store is really, really difficult for me as a woman. I don't know why, but it felt like I was always kind of met with some kind of combative energy and the need to prove myself. I had to know about every single sort of comic book there was, all of the different comic book companies, Stranger, IDW, Dark Horse, not just DC, Marvel, which I mean, come on, I know those things. But the fact that you want me to prove it, that's the issue. So even that is something that I've noticed. If we can't even get a foot in the door at a retail store, how are we going to get our foot in the door in the actual industry? That's just something I think about every now and then. I won't say constantly.
Like, no, and I totally agree. And like you said, it's very male dominated. And I mean, one of the favorite things, and this goes for a lot of people that I know, is like Artist Alley really is like the place to walk around. Here we do when we have New York Comic Con. Like I do have a lot of friends that do go to that. And again, it's Artist Alley where people want to go. And I definitely would have to say, again, very, like you said, white male dominated. You're starting to see a lot more of diversity in there. And again, not just from women, not just from both Black and female, Black and women. I mean, male and female Black artists, but also, you know, you're looking at the LGBTQ community. There's a lot of content coming from them, and certainly comics, you know, and art is such an awesome way for people to express themselves. I mean, and that is coming into the mainstream now, especially like, you know, you look at some of the Marvel movies and how they've started to diversify some of the characters. Like one character that's coming to mind right now is a Valkyrie from the Thor movie. Like, you know, traditionally a white character, they brought Tessa Thompson in. I think they're playing the character as bisexual, you know, so like they're hitting a bunch of different markets with that. But I think the industry as a whole is starting to become more self-aware. And again, like how I was joking about people, like when I was in school, like we didn't talk about comics, you know, people are now going out to events. And I mean, San Diego, like Joe Ryan said, it's my dream to go to San Diego Comic-Con. Like San Diego is just this mass of people, but like when you go there, you find your people.
You do. Yeah. It's a really kind of cool opportunity because you end up having like these really fun, long conversations about things that you genuinely are interested in that spread out to other things. And then you start seeing people getting involved in comics in the social justice way. And there's so many different ways to like take this art form, so many things you can do with it. It's literally limitless. Like you can do so many things. And I think that's part of the reason why I continue to come back to it. because it's limitless, and I need to believe that there are no limits in order to keep creating, you know, like, just feeds it.
And Joe mentioned here, he believes everybody has a story to tell.
Yes.
And again, like we were saying with this whole coronavirus, let's just talk about the coronavirus, the fact that everybody has been quarantined in their homes for like 3 months, you know, and like every household is a different story.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm just like thinking off the box. You can have a comic book, a 40-page comic book, and each page could be 40 different households.
I know.
You know, it could be an apartment building of 40 different families. Like, I mean, no, still that idea. No.
Thinking about it too, I was like, ooh.
But I mean, there really are so many opportunities that come from it. Now, before, and we were talking about this earlier, you said you did some blogging, or what was for what website? You did some coverage.
So, the reason why I've been able to go to San Diego Comic-Con so often is because I would write for Geek News Network, GNN, Geek News Network. So I would write for them, and so I was basically press. I'd go in, I would take photos, I'd write an article, I'd have to turn in so many photos, I'd be in line for a panel while finishing an article, and at first I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so alive. I'm doing all of the good nerd work, you know, feeling great about myself. But as the years went on, I was like, I am tired. It is hot, and I just want to have a smoothie. Like, that is it. Because Comic-Con is always around the hottest part of the summer here. I don't know why. I don't know why they do that to us. Our paint is melting off of our face and everything. But it became a lot for me. So I started to scale back. So I started moving on and looking at WonderCon more frequently. And I'm going to tell you, WonderCon I prefer it. It's smaller, it's more tame, but you still have, you know, the big names that you would still like to see anyway, but it's a little bit more relaxed, and everybody's just kind of taking the time and going with the flow. Stars are even spending more time with fans now. Like, it's like, oh, okay, I can do this. Like, I can do this. Just sit down and eat a grilled cheese sandwich and watch y'all go by and keep it moving. Like, it's nice.
So going out to California, that is the con to go to, obviously. Yeah. So now let me ask, and again, this is going back to your role as an educator. So when you discover a student, and you know, and let's keep it on either a girl, a young lady, and even certainly whether it be someone that's Black or someone that's you know, Hispanic, you know. Like, again, traditionally, these people did not have roles or jobs in the comic book industry. What is some advice that you might want to give to some of these students, and for some of the people, like some of the artists that are watching us here tonight and will be watching us?
You know, art is also about honesty. At the end of the day, if we're lying about, you know, the story that we want to tell, then we'll be able to see it in your line work and your coloring. Be true to yourself as an artist first and foremost. That's the thing. After that, you know, take the credit or the constructive criticism as needed. Oh, maybe sharpen this. Maybe, you know, lose the saturation on that. Those simple things. But I want you to realize that you are important. Your voice is important. And while everybody may not understand what you have to say, it is still worth saying. So keep pushing. Don't let anybody stop you. I'm still going. I'm still going, and it's been a while. And I don't have any plans to quit. And even if I don't become famous or big name, I'm doing it for myself. I'm making myself happy, and I'm making other people happy who enjoy my art. Because at the end of the day, success is not about fame. Success is about doing what you need to do to be true to yourself, be happy, and take care of yourself.
No, absolutely. I mean, like, you can't always please the masses.
No.
And that's really what it comes down to. So yeah, if anybody has any questions out there, we got a couple of people watching us. So please feel free to ask any questions. While we're waiting for anybody to ask any questions, anything that you want us to plug while you're while we're here. Like, I know we put up your website, and I'll put that up again for people to take a look at it. Because I mean, again, and I'm gonna put up from the art page right now. Again, this truly is, again, I was definitely taken by the artwork, and as you can tell from the other folks that liked it, you know, and I did share this out to Dave and to Scott, so hopefully they're watching us tonight too. But yeah, no, so there's the link. I don't know who's watching us, but yeah, so Dave and Scott, if you're watching us, please let us know. Because you found this young lady. You found this young lady. So so definitely check that out. If we don't have any other questions, and I think that's pretty good for tonight. But let me show. We're going to put up a couple of ads, a couple of other links where people can find your artwork. Like I said, this is your Andrea Agosto.com/art, and you can see on this page, Joe, check it out. Greg's watching us. Martin is. A couple other folks here on this other page I shared. Come and check it out. Check that out, and then let's see what else we have here. You can go and find Andrea on Facebook, and this is where we found her. And I guess that's where. Oh, no, that's not the right page. I think that's where Scott found her as well. No,
yeah, I think so.
Well, why did that did not work out well?
Nope.
No, it didn't come out right. All right, so but while I'm getting that up, I'll pull up your Instagram too. And then tell us, are there any projects that you are currently working on? So you said you're an actress. Obviously, not much acting going on right now, at least in person. But
self-tapes, lots of self-taping auditions. Right now, I just submitted for a couple TV shows.
Oh, wow.
Well, one's a Netflix show, so I don't know if I can say that's TV or not. That's cool.
It's TV.
Okay. And then I also submitted for a couple of things that shoot locally. They're mostly educational things. I get a lot of those. I wonder why. So I get a lot of educational video shoots. So we'll see how that goes. Everything should be done for my own home. And then since I'm not really acting per se, I'm doing a couple of workshops with local theaters. I've done a workshop with the Old Globe Theater as an actor. And I'm doing another one with La Jolla Playhouse as an actor. Some people who may know that La Jolla Playhouse is also the place that produced the musical Come From Away, Tony Award winning. We have a Tony Award winning.
I'm assuming that'll be back on Broadway. I know some of the Broadway shows were not returning. I know, believe it or not, Frozen was canceled, and I was
so surprised when they canceled Frozen. I was very, very surprised. I was
and the one cool thing about Frozen now too, just as we're sitting here talking about diversity in roles, the current woman I was playing in Frozen, she's African American. Mm-hmm. And she was for us geek fans, she was Hot Girl on Legends of Tomorrow. So, but she's cool. See, she's cool. Follow her on Facebook. Joe Ryan has a question. All right. So Joe Ryan would like to know, I'm gonna put it up here. Do you have any advice for a comic artist just breaking in? What advice would you give someone who wants to get discovered? He would like to know that from you.
That was a great question. I would say continuously improving, working on making yourself better. Don't beat yourself up, but okay, this was cool. How can I make this better? Try to study other people. What do they do? Look at their coloring techniques. How do they color? Does that work for you? If it doesn't, at least you tried. Keep trying new things. That's what this is about. It's about experimentation. And also, in case you don't like something now, it may be something that you end up liking and using later on for a different project. Basically, you just want to try to get as many different types of skills under your belt as you can, which I know can be kind of difficult, but since most of us are quarantined at this point, there are lots of online classes, there are lots of tutorials available, there's so many ways that you can improve your art. That's the thing, just constantly keep going, and even post your mistakes, because when you post a mistake, people can be like, oh, okay, they're human, cool. And also it shows you where you've grown. I love looking at old pictures. Somebody found a picture that I did in 2009, and it was an oil pastel, very similar to some of the monochromatic drawings that I have on my site. Mm-hmm. But the anatomy needed some love. And so that's something that I improved on, and the way that I shaded improved because my hues and values were a little bit off on that one. So even learning that, color theory, that's my favorite one. That helped me the most. But just trying, don't give up, keep posting, talk about what you learned, talk about what you liked, talk about what you didn't. That lets us know that you're constantly thinking about it and that you are open to improvement.
Yeah. And I mean, and just use Andrea as a great example tonight too. I think just the fact that you don't know who's watching. We live in this world of eyes. I mean, essentially eyes everywhere, whether it be Facebook, whether it be YouTube, I mean, certainly even when Comic-Cons get started up again, like you said, you had your table. You don't know who is walking past your table, who's seeing that piece of artwork, and that catches their eye. Like, and I mean, again, using Andrea, Scott saw something in that piece of artwork online. I don't know where he found it, and he posted it, and people took notice, and like you said, keep putting your stuff out there. You practice, and you never know where we have the biggest audience now, the world. Truly, and like you make it.
Well, while we're on that subject, just as a heads up. So as we spoke about, I am an educator, and I try to do as much as I can online with all of my other stuff, and I try to act still on TikTok. Unfortunately, my school district has voted to cut 237 teachers. This was done before COVID. This decision was made before COVID, before the quarantine. Now, this has left a lot of us kind of like in an up in the air position. And while I'm also up in the air, maybe, I don't really know, like we're unsure. What I continue to do is I continue to look. I'm continuing to search as an educator, because let me tell you, I do love my kids. I do love them. And if I can stay with them, I'll stay with them. But if push comes to shove and I need to move on, I'm going to find ways that I'm going to move on. And in other news, like if you are looking for a graphic designer, or you need somebody to create some graduation announcements, you can always hit me up. That contact form on my website works. It goes to my inbox. I also get a notification whenever somebody's on. So I saw a couple people dinging in. So thank you so much for checking my stuff out so far right now.
Oh, on the website?
Yeah, I got some dings. It was like ding, ding, ding. So it was nice.
See, good. See, this is we're gonna put it up again so people see it more dings. This is good. So yeah, no, like, again, so, and the big thing is support local artists. Like support people like Andrea. And I mean, there's a lot of great artists out there, but there's a lot of, I mean, like great big artists, but then there's also a lot of great artists who are, that are. Did you say? Oh, you sent me some more links. So do you want me to put these up here too?
Second one. The first one was messed up. Just the second.
Okay, cool. Tell us what this link is too.
That's to my Redbubble store. So if you're interested, they have masks now. So if you need a mask with some cool artwork, you can get one from there. Yes, I just ordered some for myself. There's different shirts of my stuff, posters. So if you want a specific item that isn't available, just let me know. I can take care of that. But you would just have to contact me directly. I've gotten huge canvas versions of some of my stuff. That was really insane to do, but I don't mind. I'll do it because it's also kind of cool to see it that big. So yeah, I just try to keep it moving.
And Joe says, solid advice. Thank you so much for the encouragement. Hello, Micah. Micah Edelstein just joined us today too. But yeah, no, guys, keep creating. Use this as encouragement. Like, again, the world is watching, and especially now more than ever, people are home right now, and who knows what's going to go on in the future. If this is going to happen again, hopefully not. I hope not. I mean, if not, we've set up our cool IncrediChat live, so we'll do more of these if God forbid that happens. But people are watching. So just keep creating.
And tip would be to also, if you're going to use Instagram, if you're still using Instagram, I don't know who is, but I'm trying still. Look up hashtags, because sometimes those bring people to you. Like people click on them. Sometimes I'll just click on one that I saw that day, and I'll just scroll through the feed of that just to see what's there. So you honestly never know. Don't get too crazy because it'll mess up the algorithm. But like definitely look up what's going to be more useful to you, what's going to drive people to your work, flagging it with certain things. I specifically began to hashtag a lot of my stuff with Black Girl Magic, Black Artists, Black Girls Illustrate, because I felt that I was either exemplifying those things or demonstrating those things in my work. So you can also reach out to people of your own community that way if you want as well. It's another great way to network, and you never know who's going to hit you up. I mean, somebody hit me up through Instagram for a giant canvas print, and I happily obliged. You never know. You really just don't know. There's so much more opportunity now, but you've got to just make time to go out for it. Either promote yourself constantly, make sure you have a place where people can find your work easily, and people can understand a little bit more about you as an individual.
Yeah, like apps. I mean, geez, like you're talking about these algorithms and all that stuff, and I mean, I'm still learning all those things. But yeah, check all that stuff out. Like that's how you find everybody. So you never know. So people watching. So yeah. So if we don't have any other questions, I mean, this was great tonight. I mean, you know, we met a great new artist. Check out her stuff. Let me put up that website again so you get more of those dings. Let me get you more dings. But yeah, go check out the artwork. There you go. There it is. Go check out the artwork. Check out her store. Purchase stuff. You know, and when conventions come back, you know, you go to con and you see Andrea, go buy some stuff from her table. You know, and so that's it. So yeah, so we'll wrap up tonight's IncrediChat here. We'll be back Monday night. We're still working on our guest for Monday night. I don't know who it's going to be yet, but we'll see. It'll be somebody fun as always. And Grazia should be back with us, I assume, if he's sleeping better, because he was not sleeping well. But hopefully he's gonna wake up for the next one. So once again, thank you for joining us for our IncrediChat tonight, and we will see you next time. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.